This is a comedy podcast and should not be used as a primary source of information. We apologize in advance for offending any tiny persons, the undead, the country of France, and all other minority groups. Information provided should not be considered extensive research. Use as directed. This podcast can burn eyes. Follow application directions exactly. Do not use while sleeping. Safety goggles recommended. Do not eat this podcast. Keep out of reach of children. Never use a lit match or open flame near this podcast. May cause drowsiness. Use care when operating heavy machinery. Avoid placing this podcast near crotch. Can cause urine to turn black. Once used rectally, this podcast should not be used orally. Loss of the ability to perform or enjoy sex and or painful erections that last for more than 4 hours are common while listening to this podcast. Other side effects include uncontrollable laughter, choking, fits of hysteria, diarrhea, anal hemorrhaging, constipation, bloating, sleepwalking, hallucinations, frequent alien abduction, excessive gambling, spontaneous combustion, blind spots, distorted vision, halos around lights, hair loss, unwanted hair growth, aggression, antisocial behavior, impulsivity, irritability, anger, anxiety, screaming, or self-harm.
But seriously, this show is not for anyone who is easily offended by strong language or graphic content. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
I'm ready.
All right, as you roll your cold PBR
I'm such a
face.
wuss with temperature.
I mean, I really wish I could turn this fan on, but
No, you're fine. I just can't
so much
moderate.
noise.
I'm freezing my ass off at work and then sweating my balls off at home. The balls that I don't have.
Nice.
My inner balls, my ovaries.
I think that's a condition, though. Like if your balls are retracted or whatever.
Oh, that is a thing. That happens.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah.
It must suck to be a dude. Said no one ever.
Mm-hmm.
So welcome back. This is our first official full episode of, and I realized that we never even mentioned the name of our podcast in the sample.
It's a good thing it was a sample.
Right? So you are indeed listening to It's All Gone Terribly Wrong, a podcast of oddities, absurdities, and obscenities. Nope. Absurdities, oddities, and obscenities. I don't know the name of my own freaking shit.
May have had a few beers already.
We started early. It's fine. So if you don't know, because I don't think we mentioned it last time, we live in Pensacola. As far as we're going to go, as far as triangulating our location.
It's the redneck Riviera of the South.
There is actually a good beer called Redneck Riviera.
I've yet to have that.
So we do live in Pensacola, and the sample was actually recorded on the day that Hurricane Michael Myers blew through. Pensacola got really lucky, and we did not experience anything but a light breeze.
Yes.
So
very, very lucky.
We're here to tell you that we survived Hurricane Michael Myers.
And our hearts go out to everyone to the east of us, because all those little towns are fucking phenomenal, and it's super bummer that they're having to rebuild all that.
For sure. Yeah.
Give them your money.
Yeah, donate, send stuff. I took in some water at work the other day for people because I know that's a big deal. I've lived on the Gulf Coast for the majority of my life, so I've experienced hurricanes in Houston and here, tropical storms,
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it's one of those things you have to deal with when you live where we live, but you can never be too prepared, and you do kind of depend on the outreach of others.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm sure by the time this episode drops, they will still need assistance. So definitely.
Yeah, they'll need it for quite a while. And the same goes for the Carolinas, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They just got battered like twice in a row, right?
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. Okay. Another thing that I didn't mention, or that we didn't mention in the last episode or in our sample episode, is that our intro music, that wonderful music you hear just before our voices,
yes,
was compiled by Jayson Knox, featuring 444 on the floor on the drums.
Hooray!
Jayson is our PA / illustrator / in-house music / my boyfriend. Yeah. So that is the only thing that I wanted to throw in there, but also, can we now talk about your Nearly Dead Threads photo shoot? Because I'm tired of like making it an issue.
Yeah, super huge shout out to Nearly Dead Threads and to Dee Dee Cole for letting me be part of that photo shoot, and to the Purgatorium here.
What the hell?
It's a haunted house thing. It's like outside. It's basically like a maze, and it's like super jumpy and shit.
It's not the one on Jackson, is it?
It is. That's the one on Jackson.
Oh, that's what it's called?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's where it was? That was your shoot? Shoot.
It was crazy.
All right, I'm going to be pulling these pictures up now, finally. I have literally tried to avoid this.
It's not so much props as like the lighting was super fucking cool there. Yeah. That was neat.
Gorgeous. Did she do your makeup and all that?
I did my makeup.
That's freaking amazing.
The little, if you go to my main thing, the little camisole thingy I have on is from Nearly Dead Threads. And
are there others?
Yeah, there's more. Go back to the main page, timeline.
Sorry.
You're good.
I'm Facebook
Scroll
illiterate.
down.
Oh my God, you have a picture of my cat.
I do. That's not creepy at all.
That's awesome. That is so sweet. Okay. Buddy, you look so good. You're so photogenic. Where am I going?
Keep going. Dose.
Yes. Oh my God, dude.
So for that, there's
freaking awesome.
This like old bathtub outside, and we just like threw a sheet over it, and I laid in it. Like the whole time I was just like, please don't fucking get bit by a spider. Like
right.
I was like trying to be super chill, and yeah.
As I currently have 2 spider bites on my thigh.
I can't do it.
That's cool. That green, there's something about green like lighting that is so ominous.
Yes.
You know, they use it in Disney films to always indicate the villain. So if you watch Disney films, the villain is usually surrounded by this particular green lighting.
Now that you say that, I totally remember that. Like, that makes sense.
It's weird.
And what is it? Rosemary's Baby?
Yes.
That's like what I instantly thought of.
For sure.
Not Disney, but...
Not at all Disney. But still a fucked up story.
Yeah.
Roman Polanski, Sharon Tate,
Oh,
Manson murders.
yes.
We're getting there. We're getting there. Wow, dude.
Yeah, she did a great job. It was a lot of fun.
So is this just to advertise for them? Or just... What was it for?
To advertise, and Dee Dee's just been getting into it, and she's kicking ass at it, so she's just had a lot of projects going on, and I was super stoked because I'm really fucking awkward in person, so I didn't know if I could pull it off.
Dude, you're beautiful. Like, gorgeous.
Thank you.
Oh my God. These pictures, dude, they're freaking awesome. Is this all that she sent you so far? Are there going to be others?
Yeah, we did a bunch. These are the ones that she's posted so far.
All right. Do you want to, can we post them on our page?
Yeah, for sure.
Sweet. So y'all check it out. They are amazing photos. Also check out Nearly Dead Threads if you are a listener in the Pensacola area. If not, I'm sure they have an online presence.
I would imagine so, yeah.
Everybody does. Or an Etsy or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. I might edit that out. Who knows?
Nah, just leave it.
Okay, so that was awesome. What you got? What you got for me? Any notes? Anything you want to say before we start?
At the top? No, dude. I wing this. Like, you're the one that's, like, all organized with this shit. I wish...
It'll happen eventually.
I wish. Sure. Yeah, it probably will.
Like, you'll have some shit to say. Do you want to start, or do you want me to start?
I want you to start, because I'm super excited to hear yours. And, well, no, you go first.
All right. If you
I was trying to determine if it would look better or worse because mine's like infinitely shorter than yours, but I really want to hear yours, so I think you should go.
Alrighty. Ask and ye shall receive. All right. So like I was saying earlier, this is one of the stories. I hate saying stories because it actually happened. It's one of the atrocities that I wanted to cover. Like as soon as we started talking about this podcast, I was like, I know what I want to do, and this is something that Jayson told me about that I was not aware of, and I really think that it's odd that I don't know about it, and I'm pretty sure that most people don't know about this. Mm-hmm. So we'll find out if you do. Prove me wrong. Okay, have you heard of the Nanking Massacre or the rape of Nanking?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Perfect. You will be a half expert by the end of this.
Excited and also kind of terrified.
So Nanking, or Nanjing, is how it's pronounced now. It was the former capital of China. So before Beijing, Nanking was the capital. After this incident, it took 60 years for this city to basically pull itself up and become something.
Yes.
So meanwhile, they moved to Beijing, and so now that's the capital. So this incident happened during the Second Sino-Japanese War, which took place in 1937, I believe. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's on the cusp of World War II. So it's kind of like commingled in there. During the Second Sino-Japanese War, bombs were dropped on Shanghai, like they did a bunch of air raids, and then Japanese troops infiltrated Shanghai. So basically everything that happens in Nanjing also happened in Shanghai to a smaller degree.
Gotcha.
So Shanghai falls and Nanjing would be next. Chinese troops are completely devastated. They put most of their efforts into defending Shanghai because it was like the first full frontal attack. So they put a lot of their troops there, and it just did not go well. So they were decimated. They were in short supply. So the next stop for the Japanese was in Nanjing. You know what? Side note, disclaimer, I don't want to offend any of our Japanese listeners. I have Japanese friends. This is just a part of history. They call this like the lesser known Holocaust. So, I mean, again, I don't fault any of our German listeners. This is history.
This isn't, we don't have an opinion. We're just given the information we know.
It just is. The Japanese troops are going from Shanghai to Nanjing, and China, the Chinese government orders all of the existing troops out of Nanjing. So they're ordering all of the troops out of their own capital city because they want to try and preserve what's left of their army. So they leave a very small, untrained auxiliary troop to defend the city, and they give a few orders: defend it at all cost, and no one gets to evacuate. Big mistake there. So yeah, that was an issue.
No one gets to evacuate?
Right.
What the fuck?
I know. So, and also a disclaimer, this is all alleged. There's, just like there's Holocaust deniers, there's deniers of this incident. So, although we'll get to it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm rolling my eyes right now.
Just keep rolling them eyes. All right. So, yeah, the Chinese government forbade citizens from fleeing as the Japanese troops marched closer. Many did decide to leave despite the government's orders. And those were generally the rich people that had someplace to go. There was also Westerners all up in China right at this moment. So people all up in there. So they hopped on their respective ships and pieced out. But the poor people, they had nowhere to go. So they stayed. Let's see. Lost my notes. Okay, so many did flee, the rich people. By the time the Japanese arrived on December 13th in Nanjing, approximately 500,000 people remained in Nanjing. As this is a quote from the Tokyo Nichi newspaper. They say, as Japanese troops headed towards Nanjing, 2 young commissioned officers began a contest to cut down 100 people with their swords. One man had already killed 56 men and the other 25. So this is on the way from Shanghai to Nanjing, which is not a very long trek for troops.
Right.
It's unbelievable. So by the halfway through, this man had already killed 56. But that's the mentality of these troops at this point. They wanted to decimate the Chinese culture. There's a lot of theories on why.
I was going to ask you.
Jealousy of the land, because this is from the Chinese perspective, that China had all the land, and Japan's this very small country, so resources are resources are always a struggle. You know, it's always in demand for whatever country. Mm-hmm. So they basically wanted to just like annex China as Japan. So that was kind of their mentality. They made a game of it. In fact, like it's said that it's encouraged by their like chief whatever war officer to just decimate the Chinese people. So they had already like started their mission with that in mind. Mm-hmm. So as soon as they get to Nanjing, mass executions took place immediately. They just started mowing down people with their machine guns and yada yada. There's a guy named Herbert Stone. No, I think it's Stone. Maybe it's Stone. I mistyped it. He was a Methodist missionary. He's an American Methodist missionary currently in China when the situation happened in 1937. And he documented the horrors that he saw. There's a lot of Westerners. There's a group of Westerners that stayed while others took off because they foresaw what would happen. So they knew that they were safe because at the time Japan was not at war with America.
Right.
Japan was building an alliance with the Nazi party, so there was a lot of Germans there at the time.
Yeah, so they're spared, and it's just
so they saw this, and these people had lived there for a while, so they had like become friends with their kids, had started playing and going to school with the Chinese people, so they had integrated into their community. Mm-hmm. So they saw what was going to happen, and they're like, we gotta stay. So there's a small group of people that did that. Okay, and Herbert, I'm pretty sure it's Stone. Forgive me, I'll write it in the show notes if I have mistyped this. So he witnessed a bunch of the atrocities, and they all started writing about it, all these Westerners. So he says what happened on the first day, the very first day that they invaded the city. He says, the Japanese soldiers came into the city in quite large numbers on Monday, December 13th. Many civilians were killed on the spot, shot or bayoneted. Everyone who ran, and many were frightened on the first appearance of the troops, were immediately shot. It is Sone, S-O-N-E, Sone. Also documented the mass executions he witnessed during the following weeks. So he also said, they shot and bayoneted on the spot without question anyone who might be considered to be a soldier. As a result, a great number of people were shot down, even though in civilian clothes. The streets were literally littered with the dead. And I'm pretty sure I used literally in the correct way.
It sounds like it. That's awful.
Yeah. Another thing that was happening is that newly commissioned Japanese soldiers would, like the young ones, the ones that had just signed up for this particular war, mm-hmm. They would test out their swords and bayonets on captured Chinese soldiers. In certain accounts, it says that it takes a certain amount of force and like mental preparedness to kill someone and like do these crazy messed up things. And so they would take live prisoners and force these young soldiers to do it, to like kind of like break their seal or whatever. That's
awful. That's where like crimes of passion, like people just like fucking do that shit unprepared, whereas like with something like that they do have to be trained.
This is more
terrible.
This is more of a crime of
not
peer pressure.
Right, yeah.
So soldiers would bind the wrist and ankles of victims so that they couldn't stand during their beheadings.
Oh my God.
They did a lot of beheadings. Humanitarian efforts during this time were carried out primarily by American missionaries and Nazi businessmen. That part really tripped me up. Nazi businessmen that were in China actually tried to help these Chinese people, even though the Nazi government was aligning with the Japanese at this moment. Mm-hmm. They were kind of like in negotiations.
Wow.
Damn it.
Just do it in the mic.
I should. Oh my God. In November 16th, so this is about a month before the attacks actually before the Japanese actually invaded the city. So on November 16th, 1937, 15 Westerners, like the main Western kind of like leaders that were in Nanjing at the time, they banded together. Girl!
Sorry.
Just kidding.
I'm sorry. This is stressing me out.
It's definitely
I had to get another
a beer cracking moment. Oh, and we have yet to get started.
Oh my God.
I know. So these 15 Westerners banded together to make a safety zone to protect the Chinese civilians. So they created this international committee, and that was made up of citizens of Denmark, Germany, Great Britain, and the U.S. And they sent a telegram to the Japanese ambassador requesting that both the Chinese, because obviously the Chinese were going to do it, the Chinese and the Japanese governments recognize this neutral zone for civilians and refugees, and they wanted it to be in or near Nanjing. There was a German chairman of this committee. His name is John Rabe, and he turned out to be the leader of the National Socialist Party in Nanjing. So he's like full-on Nazi. At one point, he requested help from the Nazi party. Like he sent back word to Germany to ask for help protecting not only the German citizens that were still in Nanjing, but also the Chinese people that they were doing business with.
Wow.
No response. They didn't care.
Fuck.
Yeah, really.
Bunch of fucking dicks, man.
I know. So the Japanese response to their plea, the International Committee's plea, was diplomatic. Like they were like, we recognize your situation, but it was very unclear as to if they were going to allow it or not. So because it was unclear, this group went ahead and created a 2 square mile area within the city and declared it their safety zone, which was respected for the most part. The safety zone included Robbie's house, the German leader, a hospital that was run by, I think he's an American surgeon, and then also there was a women's college called Jinling Women's College. So, and that was run by, I'm pretty sure she was American, or no, she was British, I'm pretty sure, like the headmistress or whatever. Thousands of refugees from both Shanghai and Nanjing flooded the safety zone, like immediately as soon as it was like word was out that it was that they were going to do this. But thousands more would never make it. During this whole time, like this occupation lasted for 6 weeks. The whole atrocity. During that 6 weeks, 114 air raids were conducted. Air raids meaning like bombings.
What?
Yeah. Of different
114.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And like some of them would last all day. Just all day long. So accounts from especially the Westerners who wrote about it, and these people were like corresponding. They're writing it, but they also are in hopes of like corresponding with their counterparts in their respective countries.
Right.
But at one point, they literally have no newspaper, no telegraph, no outside communication. They are left on their own. So they were like, we're just writing this for posterity, I guess, in case something happens and somebody finds this. It was really messed up. So December 11th, Japanese troops advanced on the city, and their assault would last 6 weeks, like I said, but the scars left by that atrocity would last generations.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that's a little bit of the history of it, or the timeline of it. So I'm just going to get into random obscenities committed.
Good God.
So as the Japanese soldiers swarmed through the city, no one was safe, especially Chinese women. Also, side note, I will be sourcing all of this. You will find links in our show notes to everything that I have researched. So, and I'll get to that a little bit later as well. So, especially the Chinese women, the Japanese troops went from house to house looking for Chinese soldiers to execute. They went throughout the whole city. They would even take side excursions into the safety zone looking for Chinese soldiers, because those were like the only ones not exempt. Any civilians were allowed to stay. They had this really messed up thing where they would like round up all the men they thought were soldiers, put them in this like town square and pull one out at a time and say, does anybody claim this person? Because if they were claimed by somebody in the city, then they were assumed to be not a soldier. The woman who ran the women's college, she like got a bunch of the Chinese women that were under their protection in the safety zone to go and claim random people.
I was gonna say, what if one person just stood there and like claimed everyone? Yeah.
Well, she would like run back and forth and like trade out like different people and be like, go claim this person, but still, there was like so many people that like obviously not everybody could be claimed, but at least they tried. Okay, so, but whenever they found a woman, they would rape her and most likely kill her. Not all of them were killed, but most of them. So the Japanese soldiers would kill the women in, quote, a number of horrific ways, including having their vaginas being penetrated with bayonets, bamboo poles, and other objects. Others were, others were captured and held as sex slaves. Gang rape and brutal murder were widespread throughout Nanjing. Pregnant women were stabbed in the belly. Some had their breasts sliced off, and others were nailed to walls while they were still alive. These people were just freaking sick.
God.
One young girl fought back, and this is actually something that's supported by her brother who survived. So one young girl fought back, and she actually ended up slapping one of the soldiers, and her brother watched him take out his bayonet and splice her down the middle, like alive, just cut her down the middle. The brother was like, we went up to the body afterwards, and her head was just sliced in half.
What the fuck,
literally in half.
dude?
I know.
I don't know. I think, because that was like my immediate thought when you started talking about it, is like people that do fight back. But one, you're fighting back, and two, hopefully at least that guarantees you like a more swift death. I'll fucking take that.
I guess, but being sliced in half by a bayonet?
It's better than being raped while you're alive.
I don't know. She got raped and bayoneted, so.
Oh, wow. You can't win them all.
I know. You can't win them.
Sorry, that's so fucked up.
On that note. Jesus. Yeah, it just gets better and better. So, a 15-year-old girl told John McGee, who was an American missionary, about one of the experiences like that. So this girl she saw was carried off to some barracks where there was like 200 to 300 soldiers there. She was kept in a room and her clothes were taken away from her, and they raped her a number of times daily for about a month and a half actually. But when she took sick, quote unquote, they were afraid to use her.
What?
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure they like gave her some STD, and then they were like, oh, she's nasty, leave her alone. So they just stopped using her, and I'm sure she was killed.
I was gonna say. Right.
They just like murdered her, and they were like, oh, done with that one.
Yeah, bayonet's the way to go, man.
Before she died, she told the other girls that there were like a number of girls just like her that were in the same situation.
That's awful.
It just gets worse.
Oh my God. How can it get worse? I mean, you're going to tell me.
We're like 30 minutes in, and I've got like so many more notes.
That's fine. That's why you did the long one, and I'm doing the short, positive-ish more one.
Is it positive? I think
it's more positive than this.
It's way more positive than this. Anything's got to be positive in this.
I would hope so, yeah.
I don't know if we'll be doing the Holocaust, but I mean, I'm pretty sure I'll be doing like specific incidents. But okay, so this story, the massacre of Nanjing, is labeled one of the worst single atrocities known in human history. I
can't fucking believe I have never heard of this before.
That's my point. Why aren't we talking about this?
Fucked up.
Exactly. So, okay. Well, here's not the best part. Oh my God, not the best
part. The most fucked up part.
Here's where it gets even more messed up. Mm-hmm. All right. So one woman who was running carrying her baby. And this is also told by her 9-year-old son at the time who survived. So he's recounting all of this. So the mother and her kids are running. She's carrying her baby in her arms. The baby is crying so much. So she's like trying to like breastfeed him to keep him quiet at the time. A Japanese soldier saw her and stabbed her twice. And then as she's like falling to the ground, she's like, she's stabbed, they fall, the baby's on the ground. And then this is a quote from her son. The soldier then skewered him clean through his buttocks with a bayonet. Yeah. Okay, and I didn't write this down.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
I know. So I didn't even write this down, but I remember the rest of it. So after he watched his mom basically like just kind of like pass out or whatever, she was like mouthing something, but she didn't have a voice. She was just mouthing something. But he kind of like knew that she wanted him to go find the baby. Because, after he bayoneted the baby, he just kind of like tossed him out, like just tossed him away. Right. So he went searching through the bodies. This boy's like, there were so many bodies. I had to like look through bodies to find my brother. And he was like covered in blood and muck and yuck and whatever. And so finally he found his brother and he called out to him. And the baby like turned to look at him because he recognized his voice. And he was alive. Can you believe that?
What?
And he started crawling to him. And so he like picked him up and took him back to his mother. And their last moment was like the baby trying to nurse the mother as he's like taking milk from the breast. And there's like a gushing wound next to him.
Oh my God.
And that's how the mother and baby die. Nursing. It's freaking messed up. And he watched all of this.
I feel like we need to put like a
disclaimer.
Yeah, pretty hefty one.
We'll do that.
It fucking blows my mind like how they can create like a hive mind of people to treat other people like that.
Mob mentality.
Yeah.
The us versus them. Yeah. It's really messed up.
And they're desensitizing them, clearly, because if they're, like, forcing them to bayonet people when they first start, then it just really goes downhill from there.
So a lot of these accounts are from survivors, Chinese survivors, but there's a lot of recounts from Japanese soldiers that were involved in it. And
are they remorseful?
A lot of them are.
I hope so.
So the interviews that I saw, you can't fake these tears.
Yeah,
and
I bet.
And the vacant looks on their faces.
Dude, I can't even imagine. Like, I want to cry just listening to it. Like,
at the time, they were just so built up. They were like brainwashed by their own culture.
Yeah,
and
you get caught on the moment.
Military.
And if they're just like pressing them to keep going, always doing something, you can't even have time to think about it. Then
they definitely conditioned them to not respond, I guess naturally or morally. All right, so some of the children were beaten so badly that they were maimed for life, losing their eyesight or limbs. Others were shot or stabbed to death. Their mothers were raped and killed. Girls as young as 12 were gang raped.
Ugh.
And they made a sport out of tossing babies in the air and bayoneting them as they fell down. Yeah.
Good God.
One Japanese soldier recounted how when he stumbled upon a Chinese woman and her baby, different situation, he was so enraged by the incessant crying of the child that he tore the baby from the screaming mother's arms and tossed him in a boiling vat of water. And when the mother attempted to rescue the child, he kicked her and stabbed her and raped her. Yeah, he's a good guy.
Seems to be the MO for most of these people now.
That's why they call it the raping of Nanking.
Yeah.
Nanjing. I know. So thousands were executed and tossed into mass graves. Chinese prisoners were buried alive and burned alive. They would chain them together and then set fire to them so that they couldn't escape because they're all like running in different directions. Mm-hmm. But they would also bury them alive. Yep. They would chain them together in groups and throw grenades at them.
What?
Yeah. So the Tokyo War Crimes Tribunal estimated that about 20,000 rapes occurred during that month of occupation, but there's other accounts that it was closer to 80,000. So it's the number of rapes and murders kind of varies, but 20 is kind of like the general consensus. Like I said, there's no official number for the death toll, but estimates range from 200,000 to 800,000. But the general consensus on that is 200 to 300,000.
Wow.
Yeah. You know what?
What?
There's pictures and videos.
Oh, are you gonna show me?
Yup.
Oh, good. I'm so looking. You know what? Fuck it. I can't sleep right now. Anyways, thanks to my lovely insomnia. So.
You'll never sleep again.
Good.
So there are pictures and videos taken by the Japanese soldiers themselves. Like they took it to like brag and like be, oh, look at us. But then also John Robbie.
Wait, they took videos?
Yeah, videos. This is 1937, so they had videos.
Okay.
You know how like when we watch films about World War II and you see like the newsreels?
And it's like the crank one. Okay.
Pretty similar. The German head of the Socialist Party that was there, that was also trying to, he was like an unofficial acting mayor after the Chinese government just kind of like abandoned their own capital city.
Oh.
Yeah. So he sent the Reverend John McGee, who is American, I believe. He's a missionary from America, around to like document with pictures and stuff. So he would hear about atrocities. Like somebody would come and say, "Oh, they killed my whole family," and he would send the Reverend to like go and collect the pictures for it,
right,
for proof. So here it is. I'm gonna show you. Okay. Oh, before I do this, some of these are really, really graphic, like really terrible.
Well, that's fine. We just won't put all of these on our social media.
I don't even think I can. I will just say, if you want to see the pictures, all you got to do is Google Nanjing, Nanjing, or Nanking, Nanking, and you will find a plethora of.
But mentally prepare yourselves.
Please,
I haven't even seen them, but prepare yourself.
Everything I mentioned is basically documented in picture.
Yeah.
So,
oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm really sad Buddy left. I also wish that...
Wait, you were sad that what?
That Buddy left.
Oh, where the fuck did
He's downstairs. I wish that I could bring my cats over here and they could all chill. And it's like almost guaranteed that we would always... Yes, like a cat play date.
Would they?
I have no idea. Probably not. I mean, we could try it.
Well, you know what? We'll just take the show on the road and go to your house and record so we can have equal cat time.
I just want 4 cats in one house.
All right.
All right. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it to it.
I freaking wish I was... Okay, here we go.
You freaking wish what?
Nothing. Here we go.
Okay, here we go.
Here's the lovely pictures.
Oh my god. Okay, so there's a...
Those are legit severed heads. I guess I'll just like narrate it.
Yeah.
For the people.
That sounds good. You narrate.
So this is a compilation. That girl's head is literally being cut off at that point. And I think that's a baby that she's holding.
Holy shit.
These are prisoners getting buried alive. So this is the last image. I'm going to leave it on here.
Okay, thank you.
Because I wish I was done, but I'm not.
This is not a... Oh. I was going to say it's not a bad image. It's like a portrait of a woman, but I feel like you're about to just tell me some more fucked up shit.
I will tell you who this woman is. All right, but before I get to that, during this time, there was a thing called Operation Cherry Blossom at Night, a.k.a. the Japanese plague bombs.
Plague bombs?
Plague bombs. So during this time, there was a unit called Unit 731 that was kind of developed and run by, I'm going to mess this up, Shiro Ishii. And they put together like a plan. They developed a plan for biological warfare to perpetrate upon the civilian population of China. And they also included Southern California in the United States. So they were developing this in and around the time that Nanjing was happening. So there's some accounts, unsubstantiated accounts, disclaimer, but some accounts that they used some of the POWs that they captured for this purpose, because they would do human testing. So they would test the pathogens.
A lot like the Holocaust.
Exactly. On live humans. So that's why I included it in this. Also, it has to do with the same time period. But in 1945 is when they actually full scale developed it, and they were like going to put it in place. But they had been doing like sly testing on the side. They specifically created biological and chemical warfare, and they carried out human experimentation on people of all ages.
Oh my God.
They encased bubonic plague, cholera.
No. Sorry, you haven't even finished.
I know, right? Cholera, smallpox, botulism, anthrax, and other diseases. And they were routinely dropped on Chinese combatants and non-combatants, so civilians and soldiers. And according to a 2002 international symposium on the crimes of bacteriological warfare, the number of people killed by the Imperial Japanese Army germ warfare and human experiments was around 580,000. 580,000. Most of those were Chinese people, because they had just started testing this or perpetrating these acts against American civilians at the end of World War II. Okay, so tens of thousands and perhaps as many as 400,000 Chinese died of bubonic plague, cholera, anthrax, and other diseases from the use of biological warfare. Following the attack of Pearl Harbor, Japan planned to use the biological weapons against Americans. And around November 1944, Japan launched a total of 9,300 incendiary and anti-personnel bombs carried by balloons, which were designed to rise to 300,000 feet, sweep eastward by the jet stream to the continental United States. Remember when we were talking in our sample about the feet?
Yeah.
Same thing. It's like transferring from like Japan to, there's like a whole current. There's a current and a jet stream that just like takes shit from Japan straight over to our west coast.
Oh my God.
So they knew about it, and they were using that to carry balloons full of these biological weapons to our shores. So they killed at least 6 American civilians near Bly, Oregon. They crashed, these balloons crashed into a farm in Medford, Oregon.
What?
I know.
What?
And I've never heard of this. Right?
Oh, that's
and they caused a short circuit in the power line supplying electricity for the nuclear reactor cooling pumps in the Manhattan Project's production facility at the Hanford site in Washington. This operation was codenamed Cherry Blossoms at Night. And they called it that for the use of airplanes to spread the plague in American naval bases in San Diego at night. That was their plan. They wanted to they were testing it with balloons.
Yeah, a larger city.
Before because you can't fly a plane close to American borders, but balloons may go undetected.
Yeah.
So they started there.
Wait, so did you say how big the balloon, like they're just like little air balloons?
So do you know Roswell, the whole story of Roswell?
Yeah.
The weather balloons? Have you seen images of what the weather balloon would have looked like? I imagine it to be something like that.
Okay, that makes sense. Look that up, people.
Right? Maybe we'll send a picture. I don't know if I remember to post one or whatever. They had planned to do this on this San Diego naval base, but Japan surrenders. Okay, so they had planned to do this in September. They were like building their stockpile, and September was their go date. But August of 1945, Japan surrenders to the U.S. or to the Allies.
Yes.
So the plan never came to fruition. According to a BBC article, Japan's wartime military bombed a Chinese city with bubonic plague carrying fleas. So they put it in fleas this time. And they dropped fleas onto these cities. And that triggered a serious outbreak of the disease.
Of the plague?
Of bubonic plague. So bacteriologist, I got it. Hung Kitai said that at least 109 people had died from the plague in Ningbo. Please forgive me for these pronunciations.
I've got a few too.
In November and December of 1940. So these are Chinese cities. So they had been testing it as early as 1940, or they tested earlier, but they dropped them in China at that time. So the disease broke out just days after the Japanese warplanes dropped fleas over the city center. Dr. Did I say Hang earlier? Well, that's what it is now.
Okay.
He was giving evidence at a case in which 180 Chinese were demanding. Okay, so this was his testimony at the tribunal or whatever. Mm-hmm. And this was because at least 180 Chinese persons were demanding compensation and an apology from Japan for the deaths of their relatives during World War II. We'll get back to that.
Ooh.
Girl, I wish I was done. 56 minutes in.
Dude, you're going fucking all out for this first episode.
So many elements to this. Okay, so fast forward to about 1997, and there's a woman named Iris Chang. She is an American-born Chinese author, journalist, historian, and human rights activist is how she's listed in Wikipedia. Yes, I use Wikipedia. Please don't shoot me.
It's okay. I did too. I really
hate
didn't
myself.
want to. Just a little bit.
Right.
As long as it's not the whole thing, I think it's okay.
Right.
Maybe we just shouldn't admit it from now on.
This was the concise version, but I do have sources from her actual website that have like substantiating information. So there's like other sources cited, but this was the concise version. Anyhoozle. She's best known for her best-selling 1997 account of the Nanking Massacre, the rape of Nanking. That's exactly what the title is. So she was born in Princeton, New Jersey, but raised in Illinois. Her parents were immigrants. They actually immigrated from Taiwan, but she constantly heard stories from her grandparents about the Nanking Massacre because her maternal grandparents escaped from it. So they were both victims of it, but I guess not victims, survivors of it.
Yes.
So The Rape of Nanking, The Forgotten Holocaust of the World War II, that was her second book, and it was published on the 60th anniversary of the Nanking Massacre. It has largely to do with her grandparents' stories and stories that they heard about the escape from the massacres. It documents atrocities committed by the Chinese against the Chinese by the forces of the Imperial Japanese Army during that war. And it includes interviews with victims. It was on the New York Times bestseller list for 10 weeks. And based on that book, an American documentary film named Nanking was released in 2007.
Okay, I was going to ask, like, if...
Yes. And it's got my boy Woody Harrelson in it.
Wait, what?
It's really good. Yeah.
In the documentary?
Yeah.
What's he doing?
Okay, so what they do is they have they have actors read the accounts of these Western and some of the Japanese and Chinese survivors. Actually, the Chinese survivors, there's a lot of them like actually featured in it. Like they are the actual survivors. But then they have like dramatic not reenactments, because they're basically just talking. Do you know Howard Zinn, History of the American People or something like that? I can't remember the name of it right now. But basically it's like writings that you never hear about in our history books. And then they had a special where they had a bunch of famous actors come to a podium and just read the accounts. So this is kind of like that.
That's cool.
Yeah, so Woody Harrelson is in that.
I love Woody.
I love him so much. Hey, you're in NOLA. Like most of the time, if you hear of this podcast, you are certainly welcome to come and chill with us.
We'll come to you. You don't have to come to Pensacola.
For sure. Like, why didn't I think of that?
We don't even have to record.
I'm
We
dumb.
can just hang out, really.
I'm so dumb. Drink some PBRs. Please be ready. PBR. Okay. So yes, that documentary happened based on her book. Okay, so the thing about it is that the book actually attracted both praise for exposing the details, but it also caused a lot of criticism and backlash for her because of the alleged inaccuracies. So again, we're going back to those Holocaust deniers.
Of course.
We're going back to the Nanking.
I mean, for
deniers.
real, like, how the hell do you make something like that up?
I just showed you pictures, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
There's pictures and videos that the Japanese
There's all
actually
the
took.
evidence you need, yeah.
But
the Earth is also flat.
Right. So again, with the Holocaust.
Sorry if you're a flat earther.
Right. Again, we may actually cover that situation, that element or whatever. But yeah, so again, same with the Holocaust. There's like videos, there's pictures, yada yada yada. How can you deny it? Like, how can you? Do you think that like 100 people starved themselves to become like basically walking bags of bones just to get a picture, just to like perpetrate this giant hoax? That makes zero sense.
Right.
0 cents. So anyway, so she got a lot of backlash off of it. She became one of the biggest advocates to try and persuade the Japanese government to apologize for the war crimes and then also pay compensation to the survivors. Hold on. That's my sound. So she actually, and this is reported by the Times of London. Mm-hmm. So they say she confronted the Japanese ambassador to the United States on television.
Oh, wow.
Yup. Demanding an apology.
She's such a baller.
Badass.
That's so fucking awesome.
I know. And she expressed her dissatisfaction with his mere acknowledgement. And this is his quote, that really unfortunate things happened. Acts of violence were committed by members of the Japanese military. That's all. That is literally the extent of their acknowledgement for this incident. That's it.
Wow.
That could be anything. So there's alleged history of mental instability on her part. She was like hospitalized at some point.
Whatever. You can't make that shit up.
Right. So, okay, well, here's how that
we all
right. We all,
problems.
if you had heard these stories from birth, like from your grandparents, and knew like direct like survivors of it.
And there's also other correlating stories from people you don't even know, like.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then you start researching it and you like really dig into it. You're bound to get messed up. I am messed up from doing this.
Yeah.
episode. Like, I will never look at humanity the same, but that's again why we do this podcast.
Yes.
All right, so she left 3 suicide notes. She did commit suicide. She committed suicide in November of 2004.
Very thorough with those notes.
I know. It's my curse.
Wait, no, hers.
Yeah, right? So, okay, so there's 3 notes. I'm going to read the last one because they're kind of like, they kind of build upon each other. Mm-hmm. And the first 2, honestly, I read them and I was like, they don't really sound like suicide notes. They just sound like diary entries. Like, you know, like this is happening in my life. And actually they're very encouraging. She's like, I will get up every morning. I will go out and see my parents. I will take long walks and I won't let this keep me down or whatever. So they were very positive.
Then. Yeah.
But the third one.
Okay.
So the third one, she says, and this is the quote, also available on Wikipedia, but I'm sure it's also on her website too. There are aspects of my experience in Louisville, something happened in Louisville, that I will never understand. Deep down, I suspect that you may have more answers about this than I do. And I assume she's talking to her husband. I can never shake my belief that I was being recruited and later persecuted by forces more powerful than I could ever have imagined. Whether it was the CIA or some other organization, I will never know. As long as I am alive, these forces will never stop hounding me. Days before I left Louisville, I had a deep foreboding about my safety. I sensed suddenly threats to my own life, an eerie feeling that I was being followed in the streets, a white van parked outside my house, damaged mail arriving at my P.O. box. I believed my detention in Norton Hospital was the government's attempt to discredit me. That sounds pretty suspicious to me.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so there's already inconclusive reports that she was paranoid that she was being targeted by the Japanese government.
Right.
And their associates to try and shut her up about this situation.
Where was she when she passed away?
She had moved to Southern California. So she was born in New Jersey. She lived and went to school in Illinois. And then she ended up in Southern California with her husband and her kid. Mm-hmm. So after her suicide, the news hit the massacre survivors who she was advocating for. Mm-hmm. It hit that community in Nanjing very hard. They were devastated because she was like their biggest advocate to keep it going. Also, these people in 2004 were now like in their golden years.
Right.
You know, she was a young, fresh person that could like carry it on, you know?
Yeah.
In tribute to Chang, the survivors held a service at the same time as her funeral. Hold on, I gotta sneeze. Excuse me. Mm-hmm.
We don't bless people around here.
Unless you're not into that. Bless you, unless you're not into that. At the same time she's having her funeral in the States, the people of Nanjing held a ceremony to commemorate her. And they actually created a bronze statue of her at the Nanking Massacre Memorial Hall in Nanjing. Mm-hmm. So they have memorialized her.
Aww.
Her... One quote that I wanted to read, and then I will be completely done an hour and 8 minutes in,
you're good.
Is that, okay, so this is what she said, and this is why she did it.
Uh-huh.
I want the rape of Nanking to penetrate into public consciousness. Unless we truly understand how these atrocities can happen, we can't be certain that it won't happen again. I read this because that's like the most eloquent way to put why I want to do this podcast, because the things that we're going to talk about, they're so dark, they're so devious, they're so incomprehensible that I can't like imagine. I can't put myself in the place of a Jeffrey Dahmer or a Ted Bundy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Or the
Japanese
even
the lighthearted ones, you have to consider like. I mean, mine's not even lighthearted. Mine's still fucked up if you think about it. But like, yeah, everything like that, you can't look over things like that.
Right. So exactly how she says, like, by talking about it and making it like a known and accepted part of history, not accepted as like, oh, it happened, let's move on, but like it happened. Yes. And let's make sure that it doesn't happen again.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's kind of how I'm like trying to like cope with how messed up humanity can be, the inhumanity of humanity. Mm-hmm. How I can like reconcile that in my own head.
Right.
So again, there are tons of sources. I will list as many as I can that I used. Also, a link to the full movie, which is on YouTube with my boy Woody Harrelson.
Woo, shout out Woody.
You're the best part of this
Party
whole story.
with us in NOLA.
You're like, Woody Harrelson, you're the only shining moment of this story. So
I don't know if he would
appreciate that.
Yeah. It's like, it's a fucked up story. I don't want you to say that.
I know. You're right. I take it back. I'm sorry.
We still love you though, Woody.
Yes, I especially have loved you forever. So yeah, that is the story of the Nanking Massacre, aka the rape of Nanjing.
Well, fuck, dude.
Motherfuck.
Indeed.
It's a heavy load. I got 38% power on my phone. That's how long it took to read that.
Wow.
Okay, so you said yours was more lighthearted. Please, God, help me with that.
I will. Okay.
Well, while you're looking for your notes, I know we mentioned we were going to do brain teasers and all that kind of stuff. Since this episode is so long, we will do that next time.
Yes. We'll do fun stuff, too.
They won't all be this long, but this one I just wanted to, like, knock out because it's, like, so
No, and
so
I'm
much.
glad you did because holy shit.
Sorry. Allergies in the South.
Bless you to your sneeze, but also holy shit because of that story.
Right.
I'm still blown away that I've
Right? Same.
never heard of that.
Same. Right.
Wait, so where did you say you first initially, because of the documentary?
Jayson told me
Okay.
about it. I don't know where he found it. Maybe he watched. Actually, a lot of the information you told me was featured in the documentary, so it might have been that. That's gonna be fun. I'm gonna edit all that sniffling out.
Oh, you don't need to do that. We all sniffle.
We all have snot sometimes.
All right. I have my phone in front of me right now because I really don't want to butcher the pronunciation.
Oh right, yeah, like.
Miccosukee, North America.
What
All
is
right. Miccosukee.
it? Miccosukee.
Okay. All right. So
Miccosukee high, Miccosukee ho.
mine is a lot shorter, which is good for this, I guess. Because I am definitely not as prepared, especially for this.
Nah, mine aren't gonna be this long.
No, I'm glad you did that one, though. Okay, well, so my subject, on a completely fucking different note, is alligator wrestling in Florida.
Yay! Oh my god. For some reason, when you said Native American, I was thinking Northwest. Don't know why.
No, we're southern as fuck right now.
Alligator wrestling. That's awesome.
Yeah, dude. I love alligators. They also scare the shit out of me, though. And so I apologize in advance because I'm probably going to have to stop a lot because I should have been more prepared for this and did a lot of it at work. And I'd also like to note that I did it on my break. Thank you to any of our coworkers or supervisors that are listening.
I love that, like, other podcasts that we listen to, they'll, like, straight up admit, oh, I did this research at work, but they never make that disclaimer.
Nope, definitely on my break.
In my free time, by myself, no one else, yada yada. Just
Also,
let it rip.
This PBR
It's not good.
needs to be cold, and
Oh,
I
shit.
shouldn't have preemptively gotten one. It's okay.
Oh, that's my
I'll be right. Obviously, wrestling alligators has been used for the benefit of white tourists more recently. And again, this is like all Florida focused because obviously not everywhere, but
It's really not. But
no. But apparently it's a thing in Thailand too,
Really?
which makes sense, but I did not know that. That's what I was told today.
I'm gonna have to
by
reach out to
a
my-
certain someone.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to reach out to my uncle who owns a Mexican restaurant in Thailand,
That's
in
the
Bangkok,
best.
and say, is that true? Did you bring that over there?
Right.
Weirdo.
It probably was him. Yeah. Yeah, as soon as I started delving into this, like, I had no fucking idea. I thought it was just, like, this dumb bullshit thing, and I should have been wiser than this. But it did originate from the Seminoles and Miccosukee, which is that how I pronounced it?
I
feel
think
like
so,
a
yeah.
dick already.
Miccosukee?
Miccosukee? No, Miccosukee.
Miccosukee?
Wait, sorry, everyone.
Miccosukee, North
Miccosukee.
America.
Okay, Miccosukee. I'm probably still gonna fuck it up.
That's fine.
All right, so the Seminoles and Miccosukee, they've obviously been here before anyone else settled here. And then in the mid-19th century, when they started settling in Florida, there, it was a war.
Wait, between the white settlers and
Yeah,
okay.
U.S. Army and the Native Americans, they just I guess essentially it was attempted genocide.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. They pushed them all the way to
'Cause
Oklahoma.
We're a bunch of fucking assholes.
Trail of Tears. First of all, quick question. And
Yes.
tell me if you're going to get to it later. Why it started with them, but what purpose did they have to do with it? Like
What?
the wrestling. So like white people took it and made it like a tourist thing.
Yeah.
What did the native people use that for?
Oh yeah, we're getting to that.
Okay, good. All right.
Yeah. So because of all of us white assholes coming here and
Our bleached assholes.
our fucking bleached assholes, god damn it.
Oh, God.
They forced the Native Americans, the Seminoles and the Miccosukes, I'm so sorry.
Miccosukee.
Miccosukes into the Everglades because they're fucking badasses and they knew that they could survive.
Right.
Whereas
we don't know what the fuck
our
we're doing.
bleached assholes couldn't do that. There's
Yeah.
no bleach over there. So it prevented the army from reaching them due to the conditions being foreign to them. And they, of course, adopted to the land. So what they would do, insanely smart. They would capture the alligator and tether it to a post and harvest the meat. A lot of times,
That makes sense.
they would capture it and keep it alive until dinner time, basically, because the meat was a lot better when it was fresh.
Right. Tastes like chicken, they say.
Yeah, and you know what? I feel like...
But greasier, I think.
Speaking of New Orleans, I want to say I've had it there, but I feel like half of the time I've been there, I've been drunk, so I don't really remember what it tasted like.
I don't remember. It could have been cat, for all I know.
It didn't taste bad. I probably would have remembered if it tasted bad.
Real quick, though. Okay, because I know as, like, a recent inhabitant of Florida that when you hear the word like gator hunt or the term gator hunting or wrestling or eating gator, you're immediately like, oh my god, they're endangered. They're not.
No, they're
endangered.
They're not.
There's legit alligator seasons for hunting because they are overpopulated.
You can get
they steal your
feel
pets. Like if your little Pomeranian is hanging around, like that shit's gonna get eaten.
There's been so many stories of people, like especially fucking golf courses around Florida. People are walking their little Pomeranians and a gator will come out. But when you're like forestation and like when you're forestation,
but I was with
when you're getting rid of everything's natural habitats, they're gonna adapt, and so they might eat your dog. Sorry, we did that. That's what you get. But yeah, they're not endangered anymore. However, they were endangered in a long time ago. Well, not a long time ago. I mean, in like...
At some point, they were endangered.
Yeah, they were, and then they basically came back in the late 80s. So now there's...
With a vengeance.
They did, because now there's 1.25 million of them just in the state of Florida.
Jeez Louise.
So there's 20 million people in Florida, and then there's 1.25 million alligators in Florida.
What the hell? Everybody grab an alligator.
Yup.
Because like the rest of those people are just like the elderly and children. So like if every adult Floridian kills an alligator, we'd still be all right. They'd still not be endangered.
Yeah.
So yeah. Don't come to Florida because your McDonald's might be alligator. Kidding.
It's true. It's kind of, okay. I won't go there.
It might actually be true in some cases.
I wouldn't doubt it. Little gator nuggets.
Pops?
Gator nuggets.
Gator nuggets.
Yeah, dude. That's a thing.
All right, so definitely going to have to do some gator meat soon.
Yeah, there actually used to be a food cart, like, before food carts were cool around here that sold gator.
You mean food truck?
Food truck. Food cart, food truck.
We're like back in like Roman times. Where's the food cart? I don't know. That was dumb. Sorry.
No, you're good.
I hate myself.
No, don't ever. All right. So they would typically keep them alive until they were ready to eat them. And then as far as my understanding goes, like with all Native Americans, they're not fucking assholes again like we are, and so they don't waste anything.
Yep.
And so they would use their
skins.
Spot. Yeah, they would definitely do that.
Their eyeballs for like jewelry.
They would do they use their teeth for eyeballs, and then no. Oh my god. Cut me off, please.
No way.
I'm really sad because I know you're not going to edit this out either. That's okay.
I
Teeth
will.
for eyeballs, man. It's near Halloween. Whatever. You do what you do. It's cool.
You do you.
They would use their teeth for jewelry. I don't know what they did with their eyeballs. Maybe they made tapioca pudding.
Right? Or like they're like gumballs.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But they did use their bones and stuff. They would use them to make like knives that actually use them to make sewing needles, which is so fucking cool.
That makes
like
sense.
As a seamstress, I want some baller ass bone needles.
Put it on the list.
Yes,
Jordyn
please.
likes bone needles.
Bone
Christmas.
needles. And so, but yes, as far as their hides go, they would often use them for trade. And that's kind of how like the alligator wrestling thing started, was they would sell them like to settlers or trade them with settlers as well. But then settlers would also be like, oh, like, where'd you get this, or how did this happen? And then they would like show them catching alligators, and then they were like, oh shit, this is badass. And they would give, yes, exactly. They would give them money to watch them wrestle them, and they thought it was the shit. And the Native Americans are just like, you guys are fucking dumb. We're just getting our food
right. It's
and
like
doing what we do.
No different than hunting deer for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy.
But it was before, well, Native Americans didn't have guns, so...
Right.
I mean, they're just doing it all by hand.
That's crazy. That's badass.
Yeah. And so the way they would do it, everything I looked up was kind of more out of water.
Yeah, you gotta like bring them out of water.
Yeah, because they have
the advantage.
Destroy you. Yeah, in the water, and their tails are insane.
Right.
But so you get them out of water, you have to basically jump on top of them.
Because you do that death spiral, right?
Death roll.
Yeah.
You don't want to get them from the side, because of course then they'll see you, so it's kind of like a surprise attack.
Right.
And then rustle papers. Yeah, you cover their field of vision, of course, if you can. I'm not sure if they did that. I imagine they probably did, maybe just like put their hands over them, or maybe they had something, I don't know.
Like a cloth or whatever.
Yeah. And then you slowly, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have seen it. You start from the back of the jaw, and like the first thing you want to do is like push their snout down, because if their lower jaw opens, then you're kind of fucked. And then you just kind of like massage up towards the top, like while you're holding it to keep their jaw shut. And I also thought it was surprising because apparently their jaw muscles are actually really weak.
Really?
Yeah.
I've always heard the opposite, I think.
I don't know if it's like... just when they're, if it's like the...
Oh, like the joint, not the muscle.
Yeah.
Got it.
So...
Because like I always start, like if it...
It snaps really hard, but to actually, the muscle to like get them open and everything is kind of weak. And so that's why once, you see them holding their mouths closed, that's why they have a hard time opening them.
Crazy.
Yeah. That's insane.
Blowing my mind on these alligators. Not crocodiles, alligators.
Alligators, not crocodiles.
There's a difference.
And let's go ahead and differentiate. Alligators like to live in freshwater.
Okay.
And they have like much bigger snouts. Crocodiles are saltwater, and they have like the weird skinny snouts.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I thought it was
Really?
just like crocodiles are in Africa and alligators are here.
I don't know. I wish I had done more research on that then. But yeah, they're different. I think alligators are more scary because they're more... Well, one, they have like the larger beaks, and so they're just like bulky as fuck.
Right.
Like...
Beaks.
Is
that really
snouts,
what they are?
I have no idea. I'm winging it.
Just winging it. Beak, snout, whatever.
Jaws, no. Well, yeah. Okay. So you get that shut, and everything I looked at was like, oh, it's a lesser known fact, which I guess it is, but if you've seen like the alligator wrestling before, it kind of makes sense. They pull their whole head and jaw up to like a 90-degree angle.
They pull it back, right?
Yeah. Because they can't fight back then. You're basically just null and voiding their activity.
Yeah.
Kind of like if you face palm someone and put their head all the way back.
Right? Okay, so I have seen that, but I didn't know, like, to hear the actual science behind it.
Right.
Then the reasoning.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Great.
It makes a lot more sense. So if you ever Encounter one. Just do that shit real quick.
First, you run in a zigzag.
Yeah.
To avoid the situation. And then if that doesn't work, then you gotta hop behind the alligator and blindside it and then pull that shit back.
Yes.
Pull that jaw back.
Yes. I think the most terrifying part for me is like after they wrestle them. I mean, especially, I guess back then also they're like conking them on the head though and like knocking them out.
Sure.
And even now, I mean, obviously there's still a shit ton of risks, but I don't know. No, I feel like if you get wrestled, if someone wrestles me, I'm going to be fucking pissed off. So,
I mean,
because the thing is like afterwards, so you have them words. Yeah,
captured,
that's not
trapped,
what I wanted, but
detained,
incapacitated.
There we go. We're getting there.
Yeah, when you let them go, they're gonna be pissed off. So that would be the worst part.
So you would not want to do that. Let them go.
No, you just lay on top of them for the rest of your life.
Stab, stab, stab.
No, I guess it says it's kind of just like the reverse thing. Like you pull your hands back up, you put one of your less dominant hand over their eyes, and then you continue to pull your right hand up more from the jaw. I wrote run the fuck away, but you actually keep your hands on its head still and stand up and like keep your legs clenched in between it. And then you run the fuck away.
I would never.
You would never run away?
No, I mean, I would never want to do any of this part. I would just be like, see you, alligator. No.
I was gonna say see you later, alligator, and I was like, that's the worst fucking.
No, I love it. You can differentiate an alligator and a crocodile whether or not you see it later or after a while.
That's true.
I love that meme. That's crazy.
Yeah. So, and then you said like the zigzag thing, and
yeah. That's what we learned in camp.
Yeah, according they can run up to 35 miles per hour on land.
Right. But they're not good at...
Can't they?
They can run straight that fast. But
yeah,
they're
that's
not
why
good
you
at,
zigzag.
Like, yeah. It's like every year of camp, that's what they started with. Well, that's camp in the South, y'all. That is camp at the South. In the South. There's gators everywhere. There's men named Gators. Named Gator. I knew a guy named Gator.
Was he a redneck?
I mean, yes, but he was a charming redneck.
Was he?
He was kind of
Is that a thing?
He was kind of charming.
Did he have a rat tail?
No, he didn't. My friends from Alabama will probably know who this is, but I don't know. He was just like really a fun guy. I mean, he would say...
He's a fun guy.
He would say really interesting things like, girl, I drink your bathwater.
Oh, God, no. Dude, that's creeper status.
But such a sweetheart. Like, I mean, aw.
No.
That's so flattering because I wouldn't. Also, I don't drink baths.
I'm glad. I'm really happy to learn that about you.
Yeah, so when you come to Florida, you can wrestle gators or you can date them.
Apparently, yeah. So, these are wonderful Native American friends, the Seminoles and the Miccosukes.
Yep, I keep thinking Mick Jagger. Miccosukes.
Okay, I like that. That works. To this day, do this. They're the primary people that do it.
Really?
Because...
For the tourist thing?
Yep, for the tourist thing. It's not as popular as it was...
For a reason.
Several years ago. Yeah, it looks like more so now. They try to focus more of their shows on educating visitors about habits and characteristics of the alligators rather than like staging some shitty battle. And then, of course, they, also educate visitors on their history, right, which is super important.
Right.
And they, oh, goodness.
It makes sense that they would transition into more of a ecological and historical,
because we're in an age
heritage
of like growing environmental awareness too, and
the
of course
Everglades are a
competition
big
for tourists.
situation.
Yes. So they're like, hey, this thing's cool. Other things live with it.
This is prehistoric. Like,
Yeah,
this is
it's
as
like
close
a
to prehistoric as we have
dinosaur, man.
at this point. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, stop eating us, says the gators.
Yeah, but we still eat them.
But
so
we
it's
taste like
okay.
chicken. Like extra
Just
greasy chicken.
Don't let us get on the
Out of
list of
Endangered?
endangered again.
Don't let us eat your Pomeranians / cats.
Oh, they're going to do
House
that,
cats.
though. Ooh,
They probably will.
another fun thing is that the biggest one in Florida that was ever found was 17 feet,
Whoa.
5 inches, and over 1,000 pounds.
Oh my god.
That's like...
Is
do
there a
you
picture?
I can pull it up. Do you remember Hook from Peter Pan?
Yes.
It makes me think of the clock
really
alligator.
does. Yes.
The movie was so Hook from Peter Pan. But yeah, everyone knows what I'm... Fucking Robin Williams.
Yes.
Come on.
That was my favorite movie. I'm sure my mother still has it. Like, I loved that movie.
I did too.
Smee.
I adored it.
Yes.
Rufio.
Rufio. Oh. Yep. That was a great one. I had the biggest crush on him so much. It is you, Peter. It is you. I do that every time I smush somebody's face. I'll like grab their cheeks and be like, it is you, Peter. It is you. Yeah, it's a great one. Also, when they had the scene where they're like eating nothing and it turns out to be like all of a sudden it's like cream and like colorful and like actual food, like because you just have to use your imagination.
Mm-hmm.
I desperately want to know what that tastes like.
That food?
Mm-hmm. You know, remember when they had the food
It's just
fight?
like, it looks like it was all just whipped cream that
with
was
color.
painted different colors.
But I imagine it to taste more magical than that.
I mean, if it could taste
Julia Roberts as Tinkerbell, like, God, you can't get better than that.
if that food could taste like anything, what would you want it to taste like?
Magic.
Okay.
I don't know. Like something I don't even know, like the fruit of the gods, like ambrosia, like the fruit or food of the gods. Just
Okay.
something I don't even know. Like it's just so mind blowing that I don't even know.
Like an apple.
Like an apple. Oh my God. Yes. Apples are good, especially for your digestion and your
This is
bowel
our
movement.
health segment of the podcast.
It really is. Stay healthy, y'all. Yeah, apple a day keeps the doctor away, or at least your gastroentomologist. Is that the right word?
Sure. Just drink a shit ton of water. That's all you have to do.
Water and apples. You can survive.
Yeah. Okay. So this isn't the same one. This is a picture, and I will try to remember to post it on our social media. This one is 15 feet long and weighed 780 pounds.
Well, that's hardly 17 with 1,000
Well,
pounds.
you know what?
But it's still
I don't want to
fucking
find
huge.
you a fake picture either.
Fake news.
Like, look, they're picking it up with a backhoe. Like,
Whoa. Oh my God. Oh my God.
that's like Lake Placid level.
Are you- I
like,
was
can you imagine
Dude, I was
running
not
into that?
prepared. This is
It's
real?
insane. Yeah, that's real.
Are you freaking... This is a legit dinosaur. Like, this is
Yeah.
dinosaur size.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's a kid next to him, but...
It's being picked up with a backhoe.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph. I refuse to believe that this is real. This is like Photoshop for sure.
15 feet, dude. That's the length of your room right now.
That's true. No, it's not even. This is
it's
11.
longer than your room
Yeah.
right now.
Oh my God. Okay.
It couldn't even fit into your front door if you invited it to a party.
No, you really couldn't. Sorry, dude.
You'd have
you gotta
to
stay
feed it
outside.
PBR outside all night.
We'll come hang out with
Get
you
it a
when
party
you feel like
hat.
it. All right. I invite any 15-foot alligator to come hang out with us
All alligators
during
welcome.
one of our podcasts,
Yes.
but no other time.
Just during the podcast.
Just during the podcast for promotional purposes only.
Yes.
That was
No,
insane.
I do really want to.
We gotta post that
I don't
picture.
want to wrestle one, but I do want to.
see
I want to
it.
chill with one.
See it live.
Yeah,
Well,
and it is good. I don't know. because I was a little worried, like, researching this, like, what kind of conditions and care they put them in.
Right.
But it does seem like, especially because it is,
Just
like, a
outside.
lot of Native American... Yeah, they take good care of them. They're not, like, in fucking cat carriers or anything. Like, they still respect them, and
Right.
they're just hanging out.
I don't know what I was watching. For some reason, I have, like, Steve Irwin in my head. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like I've seen him travel to the United States to a gator farm or whatever. And they have, like, their own enclosed, like, little pond or whatever.
Yeah, they usually do.
So it's, like, not a bad situation. And they get fed chicken, like whole chickens.
Just terrifying. It's like...
Multiple whole chickens.
I mean, I'm glad they get what they want to eat, but I wouldn't want to wrestle something that ate stuff like that on a regular
But also at the
basis.
same time, it's like domesticating
Also,
it.
I just want to say it's not actually wrestling. They're not like fucking choking them
Right.
out.
Like 1,
They're
2, 3. He's out.
Subduing them the way that they were always done in nature. And obviously, like, there's other people that aren't Native Americans doing it too. And they're probably shitty. Not
Right.
necessarily, but...
Untrained idiots.
Yeah. Because it's still been... that was another thing that I thought was really neat, is it's still passed down generations to generations. However, it is also still dangerous, because there are definitely people that do that have lost limbs.
Yeah.
There is a term for it, and I wish...
There's a term
Oh, wait, there's a
for
term
it?
for it. Yeah, hold on, I think I got it.
For losing your limbs? For not knowing...
From an alligator, yeah.
For not knowing what the hell that you're doing?
It's if you lose a body part from alligator wrestling, they say it went to the old alligator retirement villa.
Are you freaking... Because we're Florida, and that's where we live, is retirement. We're
It's in
heaven's
its
waiting
belly.
room.
Yep.
Oh my God. That is crazy. But also a very good turn from where I was in my story. Like, this was definitely way more optimistic.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Hopefully we'll be able to swing it this way every time, where we're
Yeah.
not doing both, like,
No, I
devastating
agree. We'll
stories.
do like some, like, I mean, it's all legit, but we definitely want people to be aware of like very serious things, but we also want people to
I mean,
learn just weird, interesting things too.
like I effed up earlier, we're all about the absurdities, oddities, and obscenities. So
Yes, ma'am.
anything that fits in that. Okay, so mine was definitely an absurdity. What was yours?
An oddity.
Faux show.
Yes.
A faux show. I would totally agree with that. Yeah. So, God, that was good. I mean, we're 1 hour and 42 minutes in, but with editing, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a lot shorter than that.
Probably not a whole lot, but a little bit.
There was a whole section where we went pee and we got beers.
Oh, that's true.
that
but
you guys will never hear. Some really off-color jokes that we won't be including. JK.
Maybe. I don't know. That was my fault, but
Nah. We're good. We got so much going on. Like, we've got so many plans going. I have a whole, like, list of stories to do that I've already been compiling. The next one that we do, I do, is going to be a very special surprise. It's definitely going to be shorter, though. So you go for a longer one, because it's potent, but it's short.
okay.
Yeah.
I look forward to it.
Me too. And I hope you guys do too. Thank you so much for tuning in. If we haven't already done our pre-recorded where to find us, where to reach out to
Yep.
us.
Follow us on all the stuff. It's
Not all the stuff. We ain't on Twitter.
okay.
Reiterate, we are not on Twitter. We will never be on Twitter unless Twitter becomes like the only option.
Yeah, we're not about that Twitter life.
But we do have the Facebooks. We do have the YouTubes. But, that's another thing.
Oh.
In the future, we will be recording these, and they will be for our Patreon supporters of anybody who is contributing $5 or more. You'll have access to our video recordings, so you'll be able to see and hear us, because, we're super interesting that
So
way.
you can judge us some more.
Right, like, why is she wearing that? Or is that a booger in her nose? Also, we have some illustrations coming for each of the episodes.
Yes.
And those will be provided from Jayson as well, who did our theme song.
And we'll try and, especially on the Instagram, post pictures of
Instagram,
everything
I
we've been
forgot
talking about. Facebook, I feel like will kind of just be more dicking around, and you can see like more about our lives and our cats.
Right.
And when we record.
Yeah. So we'll try and update everything as quickly as we can. Stay tuned for our next episode. Hopefully you are still hanging in there. Probably not. Thank you so much to our fans.
You are.
Our fans, a.k.a. our friends and family. And if you don't, you're dead to me. JK.
No, but really, you are dead to me.
Oh, once again, because I feel like we will need to continue to say what the hell our name is. It is...
It's all gone terribly wrong.
Because we fucking have.
Until the next time it all goes terribly wrong, I'm Jordyn.
And I'm Rebecca. Thanks for listening, and we're sorry.